What's up, Mountaineer Nation? It's your guy, Bernie Mac, coming to you live today. Talk about a bunch of stuff, but specifically Chris Henry Jr. and the possibility that West Virginia has flipped the commitment from Ohio State. And there's been a lot of talk about this for a while. The connective tissue with Chris Henry, and we've known that there's been a big push by the program for a long time to try and get him on board. But he's been committed to Ohio State since 2023, I think. So, there's just been a lot of chatter in the past 24 hours. And I just want to jump on quickly to go over it because we've been getting a lot of messages about Chris Henry Jr., what the likelihood is that we flipped him and all that kind of stuff. So feel free to drop in some comments, etc. But just to kind of bring everybody up to speed, again, a lot of chatter. We'll go over specifics about this, but Chris Henry Jr., 5-star commit at a matter day, stud, obviously son of the legend Chris Henry. The chances of him coming to West Virginia have since increased since yesterday. On3 basically said that he was a 96% chance of going to Ohio State as of yesterday, which has since been decreased and is now dropped tremendously, with West Virginia actually increasing to roughly 18% in some circles, 38% in others. And just so you're all aware, the other team that's heavily pursuing him right now is Oregon. So Oregon has made a very late push as well. We know they have an unlimited NIL budget due to Phil Knight, so that's kind of a tough hill to climb. But we wanted to kind of talk about why this speculation has popped up over the last 24 hours specifically. So what's happened to essentially see this shift has been that Chris Henry Jr. has taken down any mentions of Ohio State on social media. So if you follow his social media, there's now nothing referencing Ohio State. All of his previous comments regarding Ohio State have been deleted. That's interesting in itself, right? So that to me at least says that, if whether or not he's coming to West Virginia, going to Oregon, whatever it might be, he's at the point right now where he's looking at different options after being committed at a 96% rate to Ohio State as of 2023. The other thing that popped up is he's following Travis Trickett, our offensive analyst for WVU on Instagram. Now that might be something, might not be, but again, when you've seen these kind of recruiting things in the past, typically what happens is the recruit will follow people within the program, and usually that leads to some kind of speculation or at least commitment that they're going to be going to that school. So the fact that Chris Henry Jr. has started to follow Trickett is interesting. The other component is that WVU put out a special graphic basically saying that we got him. Now that could mean Chris Henry Jr., but it's important to note they've only used that graphic with Kevin Brown recently. And I think, when you look at the speculation around Chris Henry Jr., it could be him, it could not be. We all know that Pac-Man Jones is still very close to the program. Pac-Man has said that WVU is definitely still in the running. He's maintained that for over a year from when we first started talking to him and basically saying like, hey, you guys have a shot to land him. WVU has a shot to land him, and he's never really wavered from that. So I think, again, the fact that all this stuff is kind of happening the day before the commitment is pretty interesting. And look, we all know it's a long shot, right? But just think of what would happen if we got Chris Henry Jr. He would be the highest rated receiver recruit in the history of the program. Obviously, the fact that Rich Rod coached his dad, that connective tissue, again, is tremendous. And I think it would really kind of say a lot about the program. It would define a new era in the program for Rich Rodriguez. It would say we could play with anybody in the country from a commitment and recruit level. And the impact would be immediate and really just explosive for next year. considering the talent that we have back, and the offense that I think Rich Rod is building, the O-line, the recruits that we have coming in. So again, those are the biggest points right now. We know that Chris Henry has removed any comments, any previous comments, anything referencing Ohio State. And he's following Trickett, our WVU analyst. And again, just WVU putting out that graphic of, we got him, which has only been used with Kevin Brown. So we don't know who this is about. I think we're still very much a long shot to land a talent like Chris Henry, even with the fact that his dad played at WVU. But again, I mean, the fact that we're sitting here and it's probably going to come down to Ohio State, Oregon, and WVU for Chris Henry Jr. is encouraging. And, we know that we have a lot of, I don't want to say influence, but with Pat McAfee, Pac-Man Jones, just the history of the program, the fact that Chris Henry Jr. knows about how Rich Rod coached his dad, just being able to see that you never know how somebody is going to go, right? So I think it's going to come down to probably NIL money and the last minute recruitment push between Oregon, Ohio State, and WVU. And I mean, look, we could all sit here and say oh, of course he should come to WVU. It's where his dad played. He'd be playing under the same head coach, which is unique. But at the end of the day, we don't know what's being put to Chris Henry Jr. as far as offers, NIL money commitments. And the reality is, unfortunately, Ohio State, they've been top 10 for a long time now. And they're always playing for a national championship, and it might give him a better opportunity to get to the NFL. But again, we don't know. But the fact of the matter is that there's been a tremendous shift in the past 24 hours with Chris Henry Jr.'s commitment, and we have to wait and see where that's going to go. So it would be a great Thanksgiving and a follow-up Thanksgiving if we're able to land them. So what I would say is to, make sure that everybody kind of keeps their fingers crossed. And hopefully come tomorrow, Chris Henry Jr. is a Mountaineer. But the fact that we're even in the mix this late in the game is a positive sign. So as always, cheers, beers, Mountaineers. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving from the Voice of Morgantown Media team. Be sure to hit subscribe, follow us on YouTube, and let's go.
So Morgantown, we break it first. WU pride, we quench your thirst. No spin, all truth, loud and proud. Mountaineer nation, say it loud. The Voice of Morgantown. VOS.